I can't make any common sense out of this. We were told just a few moments ago that Nigel Farage had announced that James Evans was going to be the new Welsh leader of the Reform Party. Apparently, no, he's not. He's just a defector, having basically been ousted from the Tory party. Along with, I think this is when we saw John Robert Jenrick was ousted and quite a few other members for plotting. Nigel Farage has just announced that Dan Thomas is the new Welsh Reform UK leader. Instead, not James Evans. So we'll try and keep up with all of that, get you the latest on that in just a couple of moments. Right now, let's go to our next guest. He's former Labour Party spokesman and commentator, James Matthewson. Good morning to you, James. Welcome to the show. Oh, I'm so sorry. We seem to have just lost him. I don't know what's going on with all these texts at the moment. While we get him up, Philip Ingram is still with me, former senior military intelligence officer. I mean, it is interesting, those calls we've had. People just, I mean, everyone is just like, for goodness sake, this is just an absolute joke. What's going on with the Prime Minister and with Epstein? I know Mandelson. You think he's definitely toast? He's
lost credibility. He's lost credibility with everyone that's got any influence with him. His party, his cabinet, but more importantly, the people.
Yeah, well, indeed. We've got James Matthewson back on the line. Good morning to you, James.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much for joining us. All right, look, we've all been talking about whether or not the Prime Minister survives this. I don't think anyone thinks Morgan McSweeney, as Chief of Staff, survives this scandal, basically this decision to appoint Peter Mandelson as our man in Washington when he, as he admitted in PMQs, and as we already knew, that he was still friends with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein for many years after he had actually already been convicted back in 2008 and was in prison. In fact, had stayed at his home in New York in 2009. While Jeffrey Epstein was still behind bars, for goodness sake. Do you think the Prime Minister survives?
I think, like you, I don't think he should, by the way. That's my first comment. He shouldn't survive this, but I think he will, because I don't see the opportunity for anyone getting rid of him. I don't see the ambition for anyone wanting to replace him in this moment, even in the Labour Party. And I don't see the mechanism for that to happen either. The only person really who would mount a challenge right now would be somebody like Wes Streeting. And Wes Streeting would be very much a continuation of Keir Starmer. So, I mean, I don't see that kind of appetite.
You didn't see Angela Rayner. I mean, she was there yesterday. She put the knife in the front, not even in the back, by basically leading a lot of backbenchers saying, basically, we don't trust either the Prime Minister, his Chief of Staff, or the Cabinet Secretary, or anyone working in Number 10, to be independently looking at what is and what is not safe to be put in the public domain and not a national security risk about what they knew when about Peter Mandelson's links with Jeffrey Epstein. They put it to an independent cross-party committee. I mean, that tells you quite a lot. She is trying to put the boot in.
Oh, absolutely. But she's doing it very publicly. And if she was on manoeuvres to try and replace him, she wouldn't be doing it publicly. It would be private. The problem here is Morgan McSweeney, right? I mean, what on earth does Morgan McSweeney have on Keir Starmer? This is what I can't understand, because everybody who I speak to for the past, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, has said, oh, this is it for McSweeney. It's over. You know, every single time something happens, well, every time it's a U-turn, every time it's the winter fuel allowance stuff, it's always McSweeney who's been pushing in that direction. But Starmer doesn't have the political kind of currency or credibility to get rid of him, because really what happened was, and a lot of people don't understand this, was McSweeney created the project to get Labour back into power. He had the idea for it. He had the idea for what the campaign would look like. All of this.
He created him. Keir Starmer is a Morgan McSweeney creation.
Yeah, he just didn't have the face. He just needed someone to kind of be the face of it. So he met with Keir Starmer, I believe, in his kitchen, and Starmer said, yeah, I'll do it. It'll be me. So they're very much wedded together, and their futures are. So I think Starmer has always viewed it as if McSweeney goes, then it's probably over for him. And I mean, fair enough. That's going to be both.
But again, what is so true? I mean, I was journalist for many years in the lobby, and all those weeks we'd have to Tony Blair, you know, all these years he was in power. Tony Blair, like, this is the toughest week of his premiership. Is he on the ropes? Will he survive? Will he survive? And every single time he did. He was a consummate politician. He was incredibly clever. He thinks on his feet, very charming, didn't make enemies, blah, blah, blah. He did all he knew, and he still had enough appeal on the doorstep to make. He won 3 elections, at the end of the day. But when you look at Keir Starmer, he simply isn't. He's not clever enough. He's not sharp enough. He hasn't got the political acumen, has he? He hasn't to dance around these things.
Yeah, he's not a politician. You know, he is a bureaucrat. He's very much a middle manager type. You know, he can run departments. He can keep things on the straight and narrow if you want him to. But politicians need to be able to adapt to these very difficult times. They need to be able to thrive under these kind of pressured environments when the walls are closing in and no one seems to be there for you. But I don't think Keir Starmer's that kind of guy. I think really there would reach a point where he would just be sick of it and he would want to go. But I don't think that point is yet. I'll be totally honest. I don't think it's yet. But it does. I do have to say, Julia, again, because a lot of your viewers are probably agreeing with me right now, and you know I don't like that to be the case for too long. So I'll have to throw a cat among the pigeons and say, if you are somebody who thinks that Keir Starmer should resign, you know, over the Epstein files, that's totally fine. But you don't think that Donald Trump should, then you need your head checking. Because Donald Trump's name appears in the Epstein files more than Harry Potter's name appears in the Harry Potter books. Yep. More than Jesus' name appears in the Bible. I'm sorry, like, you can't possibly think that this is, you know, as you should hold Mandelson to account and all those around him, that the leader of the free world and all of the redactions, all of the way that they've handled this should be allowed to continue. It's disgraceful.
What do you think is going to happen? How will this happen? Because often we think, and again, you sort of think about with Boris Johnson, how he was ousted. And again, a lot of it was actually over him attempting to protect, a colleague and stop him from being disciplined in the Commons. And then people go, no, this is wrong. Don't lead us up a hill like this. It is often, prime ministers often fall over sort of tiny little nitty-gritty things. Often again, it's a silly little lie. It's not the big crime. I mean, we're not accusing the Prime Minister of being mates with a convicted paedophile, or of or even of Mandelson, certainly on the evidence we know to date, of being a paedophile himself. None of these allegations are being made. Okay, what we're talking about is someone appointing someone who was friends with somebody who did bad things. That's what we are talking about judgment. So do you think that alone is enough to bring down a Prime Minister? That level of poor judgment on one appointment? Or is it is it all the U-turns? Is it the popularity ratings? Is it everything else?
It's the collectiveness of it all. So I like to think of it like China teacups, right? Being stacked on top of one another. How many can the Labour Party balance? How many are the backbenchers willing to juggle to try and keep it going? And right now, there has been no reprieve. I mean, you know yourself from the coverage that you've provided of this government, there has been no reprieve. There hasn't been a week where there hasn't been some kind of scandal or U-turn or bad news story. And at some point when you are in this perpetual doom loop, how do you get out of it? I mean, there's been so many opportunities I've seen to be like, sack McSweeney, set a new direction, really take control of the helm. None of that has happened. Yeah. We've just continued to go on this path to nowhere. And that's the saddest part of it all, Julia. There is nothing driving the direction. And it makes me absolutely furious because in this political climate right now, where you've got the rise of populism, you've got the rise of Nigel Farage, Donald Trump's best mate, there should
So
be
you say that like it's an obviously bad thing. I love the I'm always fascinated by the rise of populism. What do you mean by populism? A politician who does or says he's going to do what voters say they want?
No, demagoguery. It's about using the
being
public.
A popular politician.
Not popular, populist, and there is a difference.
Yeah, I know. And what do you mean by that?
I mean,
because you clearly mean it as an insult. I'm fascitated to know what you mean by it.
Well, it's people who say things that they're not going to deliver. It's people who will use.
That's Keir Starmer. That's not a populist.
Well, no, but Keir Starmer doesn't even say things that are inspiring.
He said he's going to do things. No, but he says he's going to do things, and
it's
then
about blaming. It's about blaming other problems, right? It's the likes of. Here's the prime example for you right now. It's the Nigel Farages of the world showing up and saying immigration's the cause of all of your woes. It's the cause of all your problems.
I don't think he's ever said that.
Nigel Farage.
I don't think he's ever said that in public or in private.
He's worried about the safety of women and girls. But
so is Keir Starmer, apparently.
His best mate, Donald Trump, right, is throughout the Epstein files, the redactions that are there. You've got men in those files calling for little girls to be tortured and asking about the torture parties that are taking place. And those names are redacted. And the US government's protecting them. If anybody had a spine, if anybody cared about women and girls and violence against women and girls, they would be outraged by that. But no,
I
they're
know.
not saying
I
anything.
agree with you on that. Hey, listen, you'll never find me defending Donald Trump's character ever, ever, ever. I'm on record on that one. Fascinating to talk to you, James Matthewson. Thank you for joining us. Former Labour Party spokesman, very much commentator now, very much not a Labour Party, not even a member anymore. Philip Ingram. I mean, he's basically saying, look, he's despairing as someone. He's to the left of Keir Starmer. There's no doubt at all that if Keir Starmer goes, we are going to be looking at someone definitely further to the left of Keir Starmer.
Oh, very much so. And there isn't someone who's got any ability. Not that Keir Starmer's got any ability. What disappointed me with James there was a deflection in that the US is hiding lots of stuff and everything else. Yes, the US is hiding lots of stuff, but the story isn't about US politics at the minute. It isn't about the detail in the Epstein files at the minute. The story is about our Prime Minister misleading the country in the appointment of the representative of this country to our most important ally, not what our important ally has done.
Absolutely. Fascinating. Can't wait to